Shalom. First and foremost, I give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing and many salutations unto you elect across the four winds of this earth, fulfilling your lots in all truth and all sincerity. The names that were just called on are the names Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and those are the true names of who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ. Those are the names that our forefathers called on, and these are the names that are being called on here today. And through these names will be how the elect receive salvation. I'm the brother Sha'ar from the Great Millstone Dallas Camp, coming to you all with another lesson through the Spirit. Lord's willing, this lesson here will be edifying unto the flock. And something I was just pondering as I'm getting up, just meditating or doing my morning meditation on a few things. I was pondering Matthew the 16th chapter. I was thinking about that in the account, and I'm going to read it here. Thinking about the account where Yahweh Shai posed the question to his disciples, who he is. And find it interesting when you look at Peter's response. Peter didn't waver. He didn't say maybe. He didn't say we'll see. No, Peter knew exactly that Yahweh Shai is the Son of the Most High. It wasn't no just possibly we'll kind of wait and see. No, he believed. And that is a characteristic that the elect are going to exude here in these last days. That 100% fullness of faith. Another name for it is called boldness. This is Matthew 16 and 13. When Yahweh Shai came to the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" And they said, "Some say thou art John the Baptist, some Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the other prophets." So right there within itself, you had Israelites that were around that didn't even believe Yahweh Shai to be the Son of Man. Now they considered himself to be one of the great prophets and such, which is a great thing. But you see how none of them said, "You are the Messiah." They either thought it was John the Baptist or Elijah or Jeremiah or the prophets. And something to consider, that it was already prophesied that the Son of Man was going to come into the earth and be born, pertaining to Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14. But when you look at those Israelites that were around, they didn't even consider that. They didn't even mention the Son of Man, which shows you where, I don't want to say that they were lacking a lot in faith, because they did consider him or thought he was one of those great men. But just to show you that there's higher levels of faith than other individuals. Because when you look at Peter's response here in the 15th verse, here in the 16th verse, and I'm going to continue to read, he bypassed John or Elijah or anybody. He knew exactly who Yahweh Shai was. Verse 15, and he said unto them, "But whom say ye that I am?" And Peter answered and said, "Thou art the anointed, the Son of the living God." So you see the boldness that Peter came with. It wasn't, "Oh, well, you might be." No, not at all. He knew exactly who he is. And just using this account here as an example, which is a great example, by the way, because this is one of our forefathers who believed wholeheartedly who the Son of Man was. But I'm using this here as an example of boldness in the faith. And with boldness comes the greater reward. Yeah, the Lord will reward those that have faith. Hey, Yahweh Shai presented himself to those individuals that thought he might have been John the Baptist or Elijah or Jeremiah or one of the prophets. So they had faith. They knew he's a great man. But Peter knew exactly who he was, and he had that faith to know that he's the Messiah. And there was a great reward that came with that, even though it was already written. But let's see what Yahweh Shai responded after Peter confirmed and said who Yahweh Shai is, with boldness, by the way. This is verse 16. And Simon Peter answered and said, "Thou art the anointed, the Son of the living God." And Yahweh Shai answered and said unto him, "Blessed art thou, Simon Bar Jonah, For flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. Remember, he didn't have no Yahweh Shai had a registry, you can say that. But if you actually look according to the prophecies, went into how he was going to be of the line of David and was going to be a king. But after Jeconiah, and this is going into a little bit of history, there were no more kings that was afterwards. So there could have been a bunch of thoughts in a lot of those people's minds. They could have been too key on looking at certain particulars and such, bypassing the spirit that came with Yahweh Shai. So Peter knew exactly who Yahweh Shai was. All right. And he was blessed. When you go into that word blessed here, it means happy. But I'm just interested to see what this word says here in the Greek. I'm just looking it up. The word Greek is makarios.
Strong's G 3107. Makarios. Makarios.
And it says blessed, happy. Okay. So he's blessed. And that level of boldness and that level of faith, blessings come with it. All right. Hey, the higher level of faith, the higher level of blessings you receive. And again, it means happy. Okay. So when you come with that level of boldness or that level of faith, the Lord will match you with that, with reward. As is written, the Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness. And it's also written in Hebrews, the 11th chapter, he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is. And he is a rewarder to them that diligently seek him. Because you had those that came prior that acknowledged him to be Elijah or John the Baptist or Jeremiah or one of the other prophets. But they have yet, or I don't want to say have yet, but they didn't acknowledge him being the Son of Man like Peter did. So he didn't say blessed are these other people, even though they had faith. So don't get me wrong. It ain't like they weren't blessed to anything. But there's a higher level of blessing that just comes with believing that he is. And he was rewarded for that faith. So let's read verse 17. And Yahweh Shai answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it, which the gates of hell are synonymous for death. So he's saying that not even death or any forces of death are going to prevail against this church that's going to be established upon Peter. And you clearly see this church standing strong here today within these last days. But again, where I'm getting at is the boldness and the faith. And brothers, hey, this even applies to us too. When you believe, when you have faith, and when you pray, don't just think of it as, it might happen. No, you prayed for it, right? You believe it, right? You believe he is, right? And this goes for all of us. And we know there's levels of faith. Certain might not have the same measure of faith as another brother or a sister or whatever. But I'm just generally speaking. Hey, the Lord likes boldness. And if it's boldness and righteousness, it's not wicked. It's not proud. If you throw up an honest prayer unto the Lord, a sincere prayer, and it's not to exalt yourself, but you're exalting the Father and the Son, which are in heaven, you think the Lord ain't going to reward it? You think he ain't going to answer it? All right. That's called boldness. The scriptures say to approach the throne of grace in boldness. And just as Peter had the boldness to know exactly who Yahweh Shai was, that's the level of boldness that's required within the friends of Yahweh Shai. Gonna pull up some precepts. This Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse 1. Who is as a wise man, and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed. This is another one here in Acts chapter 4 verse 13. And this is going into the account when the apostle Peter healed that man on Solomon's porch. And afterward, all those Israelites flocked up. They all flocked up. And within that, Peter had a sermon right there in front of all of them and told them that it's Yahweh Shai that did that. That was boldness. He didn't say it might have been, or we didn't really know. He wasn't shocked after that miracle came. He knew exactly what came with that. He knew exactly when he put his hand out and told that man, silver and gold have I none, but rather ye get up and walk. It wasn't no maybes and old possibilities, or maybe you might get up and walk. No. He declared that in boldness in the name of Yahweh Shai, and it happened. And afterward, you had those scribes and Pharisees that took those men and had counsel, and they really wanted to put them to death. But this is one of the responses. This is what took place while they was in that council. This is the book of Acts chapter 4. And this is still the Apostle Peter talking. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 8. The same one that believed Yahweh Shai to be the Son of the Most High, as I read it in Matthew the 16th chapter, the head of the church, the Apostle Peter. Acts 4 and 8. Then Peter, filled with the Holy Spirit, said unto them, Ye rulers of the people and elders of Israel, if we this day be examined, because remember, it was that council that was taking place. They was being persecuted. If we then this day be examined of the good deed done to the impotent man, by what means he is made whole. And again, this is going into that man that was crippled. And this is the man that sat in front of Solomon's porch, that asked for change every day. A miracle took place through this man. Verse 10, being known unto you all, and to all the people of Israel, that by the name of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach of Nazareth, whom ye crucified, who the Most High raised up from the dead, even by him doeth this man stand here before you. This is the stone which was set to naught of the builders, which is become the head of the corner. Neither is there any salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. And that name is Yahweh Shai. When Peter was talking to these individuals, he didn't say Jesus. He didn't say Yahshua. He said Yahweh Shai. And through Yahweh Shai, through that name, that's the only way to receive salvation, which is why I said what I said in the beginning of this lesson. These are the names that we call on Yahweh, which is the name of the Father, but we call on Yahweh Shai for salvation. And calling on Yahweh Shai by default, you're calling on the Father, because it's written, his name is in him. As you read it, the name of the Father is in Yahweh Shai. The reputation of the Father Yahweh is in Yahweh Shai. Acts 4 and 13. Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, you see there, that's the boldness right there. You can't come any other way. As I quoted it, and I'm going to say it again, the scriptures mentions to approach the throne of grace with boldness. It ain't no maybes, no teeter-totters, no, well, it could be. No, man. You believe it, right? You prayed for it, right? Was it in righteousness? If it wasn't for your own will, but you're keeping the will of the Father and the Son in mind, come on now. This is how we get to the next level. We got to come boldly. Acts 4 and 13. Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John, and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled, and they took knowledge of them that they had been with Yahweh Shai. And beholding the man which was healed standing with them, they could say nothing against it, because a miracle took place, and it couldn't be denied. Through boldness, the miracle was done in the name of Yahweh Shai, and through boldness, it couldn't be denied. As much as people could say, well, we don't know, And it's the same level of boldness and faith that us being believers have to have, especially in order to get to that next level. And that's why I started this lesson off here in Matthew, the 16th chapter, where Yahweh Shai said, some people, who do people say that I am? They responded, well, some say Elijah, John the Baptist, maybe the other prophet. But they missed out the Messiah, knowing that the Messiah was going to eventually come in that time. And they believed the Messiah was going to come. But when he was there, it was like, they might be somebody else. No. Excuse my French, but fuck the maybes. Fuck the maybes, bruh. I ended off here. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 17. And I'm going to read verse 20. I pull this account up right here. And I'm going to start at verse 18. And it reads, and Yahushua rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him. And the child was cured in that very hour. So this is a miracle that was done. It was an exorcist that took place. A demon departed out of a man, out of a boy. A little child that was possessed with a demon. The demon fled out of him. Verse 19. Then came the disciples to Yahushua apart and said, why could not we cast them out? And Yahushua said unto them, because of your unbelief. Now they came up there to that man to cast it out, where there was still thoughts of doubt and unbelief and maybes and gray areas that was there. If it wasn't the case, the demon would have been casted out. For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence from yonder. And that's very bold. You sit back and think about it. A mountain is an infrastructure that's been there since since the beginning of the earth, pretty much. So he's going into the heights in weights and measures that boldness and full assurance of faith can take you. He said, if you have that level of faith, you'll be bold enough to go to this mountain and say, go on and move, and it'll move. And he's just using that as an example. And it shall be removed, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. But he also continues to say, howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. So that also is required too, in order to get to that next level, in order to solidify that, if you really desire that, hey, it takes a lot of minds being single, you exiting things out of your lives that could cause you to have doubt and such. And a lot of times prayer and fasting is the only way to really have your mind focused so you can get to that level of faith. All right. But the point is, nothing shall be impossible unto you. So all the gray areas, all the maybes, all the, oh, hey, hey, it could be. Man, fuck that. Excuse my French, but fuck that. You believe, right? Then believe. Call Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing and many salutations unto you elect across the four winds of this earth, fulfilling your lots in all truth and all sincerity. Shalom.